Hello, I'm John Hall. I'm the Group Operations Director for Belgravium Technologies. I thought it might just be interesting to look at the principles behind the development of the Spirit mobile ticket issuing systems we've just been involved in designing. Belgravium Technologies is made up of a number of different companies within the group. Belgravium Limited, who are primarily focused on logistics. We also have Touchstar Technologies, who are primarily focused on, again, logistics, but with a fuel delivery focus. And today what we're really going to be talking about is Novo IVC, who have a long history in the travel industry. These are some of the companies we're very proud to be involved with. People from Virgin to Qantas in the airlines field, to First Group in the train operating arena, to Total and Shell in fuel delivery. But of course we'll be looking more at the train operating side of things today, and that's particularly one of Novo's strengths. So why work with Novo? They're a world-leading supplier of the travel, retail, mobile computer systems, focusing primarily on the software interface and the printing and payment side of the solution, with Touchstar, the other company in the group, providing some of the hardware. So the mobile POS systems that they have in most of, I think 80% of the airlines throughout the world are market leading. They were one of the innovators of this type of technology throughout the world, going back 10 to 15 years. They also have a very strong background in back office solutions to enable them to manage the retail distribution of the goods. And they also have a very strong understanding of the railway industry, being involved in the mobile POS sales of foods and goods on a number of trains for a number of train companies throughout the UK and in Denmark. So how do you actually approach development? I think the first thing you have to do is capture the requirements of your customer. You must understand what it is they want to do, both on a technical level, on a commercial level, and you really do need to understand and help them to understand what it is they want from the solution. So from design to support, how do you go about this development process? The first thing is to really understand the customer's requirements. We did this through the use of focus groups. So the focus groups were to look at the way in which the equipment was going to be used, the aspirations of the company in terms of the business benefits, to look at how the customers reacted to the interface that was provided on existing equipment, and to then, with concept designs, look at how they reacted to the concepts. We came up with a number of concepts and actually presented 3 concepts, all of different varying sort of shapes and sizes. For instance, one of the concepts was basically a horizontal portrait or a landscape design. The second was a portrait design, and one which had no keys and one which did have keys. So we, on presenting that to the team, then honed that down and perhaps took 2 ideas from the first design, 1 idea from the second design, and 5 ideas from the third design, and then came up with a final concept. But that process is very interesting in terms of learning what they are actually helping the customer learn, what it is they do and how they use it, because it's not always totally evident to them. I think somebody once said to me that Henry Ford said that if he'd gone to his customer base and just asked them, what they would like, they would have said a stagecoach with 18 horses, not a motor car. So there has to be, on top of the user focus groups, some innovative ideas that we bring with the knowledge of our market. So then, having got the concept design down to one particular design and agreed that closely with the customer, we would develop a prototype, and that prototype would be used for a number of trials as we go through the development process. Obviously, we offer the full manufacturing capability, so having provided a prototype final design, we then move out to work with a number of partners all over the world to provide plastic cases, the electronics, and the software, because we understand that we have particular areas of expertise, and we need partners to actually help us through the whole cycle. We are very, very good at deployment. So this is, again, one of our key skills to ensure that this very high-quality piece of equipment was actually deployed into the field in the best possible manner. And of course, then the support of the product and the software is so important. And I think that's always a very key aspect of what we do within the group. So we then moved on to the concept design. So as I say, they had thought of a three-piece design. We very, very quickly got it down to a two-piece design. That meant that they had the ticket issuing system, a separate pin pad, because they had to pass that across to the customer to punch in their numbers. It was a lot more effective to do it that way, and they, without, I think it was 100% take-up on that element of the concept design. The tickets was another quite emotive element of the discussion. I think a lot of people felt that rather than fanfold tickets like this, they'd rather like to have separate tickets that were issued separately as you went through the ticket issuing process. But when we discovered that there were about 15 tickets, perhaps for a large family being issued at any one time, one of the train operators pointed out that he was not going to stand there and catch all these separate tickets flying all over the carriage. He wanted to be doing other things, so it was much more effective for him to have a sausage of tickets which could be printed while he was taking the money or dealing with the chip and pin device. So that is really how we came to decide that we would go for the fanfold tickets as the existing machines do. Then you have to look at the user interface, and we came up with, having studied the way people used it, the ethos. We noted that a lot of the damage to and failures of the existing machines was due to the touch screen. There was a lot of reliance on the touch screen with a pen, so we quickly identified that it was quite a nonsense using the touch screen for everything, particularly when you had an effective keypad. There were a lot of people who remember some of the older systems who really liked a keypad because it gave them direct, positive interaction with keys which were easier to use than the small keys on a cluttered screen. So effectively what we said was that we wanted finger-only interaction. We wanted no stylus and no pens anywhere near it, so any of the buttons can actually be used using your finger. The screen is just purely used for presenting information. The keyboard is purely used for data entry. So if we look at the design process, what you must do now is present a very, very tight specification to the user. So these were some of the things we came up with. The weight of the mobile computer and ticket issuing system was just 1,280 grams as opposed to over 2 kilograms with their present system. We managed to get it down to a small envelope, which was almost a third of the size of the existing ticket issuing system. We managed to ensure that the tickets were easy to load so that they could be quickly loaded should you wish to load them in a very crowded carriage in a very busy environment. Personal issue strap. The straps, believe it or not, become very dirty and very smelly, and people do not want to use somebody else's strap. So we've picked a strap which is low cost enough for that to be personal issue, along with their shirt and their tie and their the rest of their uniform. We've been able to provide full magnetic encoding, plus we've looked at the ITSO element of the verification, because we're all going to be moving to contactless smart cards, and this is a very, very important aspect of the development going forward as they move to this contactless payment system. We've got Wi-Fi in there, so everything is wireless. You never have to plug anything in, so we don't have wear and tear on connectors. The upload and download of information is automatic, seamless. They don't have to think about it. So we've made it easier, we've made it more secure, and we've made it more robust from a physical point of view. We've got Bluetooth in there for communication to both the chip and pin device and any other device that they may wish to connect to, such as your a mobile phone, which might be used to bring timely information down to the TIS should that be required. We've also used some of our innovative technology developed for our mobile computers, such as a drop monitor, so with an inertia sensor, which can give us an awful lot of information about how the device is being used, particularly if it's being abused. We can detect free fall, we can detect shock, and the terminal will store that and report that back. We also have provided the facility for 1D and 2D barcodes. I think there is a lot of talk about using 2D barcodes with an imager on a mobile phone. So you buy your ticket, it comes across on your phone screen as a 2D barcode, and you use the imager within the ticket issuing system to verify validate that barcode and the electronic ticket. I think one of the most important things that we kept our eye on throughout the development was competitive edge. Of course, through providing the design to meet the requirements of the train operating company, we were building in a lot of innovative features which would give us competitive edge. But one of the things that surprised us all was the speed at which we could print a ticket. The speed came down from anything like 13 to 30 seconds for printing a card on the existing systems, or printing a ticket on the existing systems, down to around about 2 to 3 seconds, which included the magstripe encoding and the printing and the mining of the information, which was extraordinary. compared to the existing systems. So it's very important to the train operating companies as a solutions provider that we could provide the solution from end to end. And of course, a very, very important aspect of that is the software architecture. And to enable us to provide that end-to-end solution, we engaged with Fujitsu. The Fujitsu allow us to take the fares data and the timetables data and move that onto the ticket issuing system. So once the ticket issuing system has then completed its rounds, it comes back to the office with all the information about the tickets that you've sold or the operator has sold through the day, then we're able then to bring that data back and deliver it through through Lennon down to the rail settlement plan. We can also deliver all the information about the chip and pin transaction through to the banks. So we're able to do a full end-to-end solution on the issuing of tickets. Yeah, so I hope that gives you an overview of the process that we go through in terms of developing a bespoke system. And I think that shows how, in a very short space of time, we can get from concept through to a final product. Thank you.